cold in here. Hey, welcome to the guide.
Yeah. I'm Will.
I'm Yo, and it is chilly in here. But that's all right. We're going to press ahead. I know, it's weird, right? It's like 95 degrees outside, and it's like an ice box in this room.
It's kind of the Arctic Circle.
It is totally
in this office. Yeah.
It is really the Arctic Circle. That's not what we're updating you on this week. Actually, we've got a few things that we need to get to. Let's start with one of the more intriguing things to come out of this week. The Microsoft Surface.
The new Microsoft tablet.
Yeah, now this is interesting because Microsoft's business strategy to this point has been to partner with other people via software. Aside from the Xbox 360 and the Kinect and Zune and a few other, they don't do a lot of hardware themselves, especially when it comes to PC. This is really their first in-house designed PC.
Yeah, they're really pioneering this design, and it's really kind of putting them more on a par with Apple, a lot of people are saying.
Obviously what they're gunning for.
Oh yeah, they've been competing with them for years now.
They tried it with the Zune, and that tanked big time. But this might have a little more success.
I feel like this is thought out much more than the Zune.
And I think it's very interesting that there were some Xbox designers who were a part of the designing for Surface. Now,
which makes you want to think, hopefully it's going to have some kind of connectivity with the Xbox.
Right. A lot of talk about smart glass this year at E3, and then right afterwards they introduced their very own tablet, which I don't think is a coincidence.
No, I think there's a plan.
I think there's a plan to connect the two as well.
And I'm curious to see if they're gonna push it out in time for this holiday season.
Right.
Because I really don't want them to rush it, because I think it can be a really good
Well, the
system.
low-end one is definitely going to debut this year. The one that's basically like a souped-up PC in tablet form will be coming later. No prices have been revealed as of yet, so we'll keep you up to date on that.
0.4 inches thick.
I know, they're super thin.
It's only thick enough for a USB drive,
and they only weigh like a pound and a half. They're 1.5 pounds, which isn't that's about the same as the iPad. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two compare. A lot of people are going to be talking about it, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Now let's talk a little bit about Lego Batman 2. Video game came out this week, one of the big debuts. Did you play the first Lego Batman?
I did.
How do you feel about Lego games in general?
I feel like they're great for about 30 minutes, and then I'm ready to move on.
True that. I was super absorbed in the early Star Wars Lego games, and then they just all started feeling the same. Now, Lego Batman 2 does a couple things that are interesting for the franchise. First of all, it's fully voiced.
Yes.
Which the problem with the first Lego Batman, because up to that point, you know, you were seeing familiar scenes from movies that you knew well, reenacted via Lego form, but no dialogue.
Right.
Now, Lego Batman tried to tell an original story, which is hard to do when there's no voices. So they've gone the whole voice acting route with this one, and I think it works really well for Legos. They're going to do the same thing for Lego Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it definitely provides a much more theatrical feel to the Lego, and it kind of breaks it up from the same mold.
And it doesn't feel out of place. I know that I think it works well for the franchise. The other thing is an open world. You can drive around Gotham City. You can fly around Gotham City as Superman, which is obviously very cool. And that's the other thing that they add is a bunch of superheroes. It's not just Batman and the Bat family. You can play as Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, Flash, Martian Manhunter. You can play as the villains, Bane, and all the rest.
I think giving it so much variety is really going to help out as far as getting everyone on board with the new Lego game.
It's available on every platform ever imagined, and we'll have our full review for the Xbox 360 version. There's also a demo of it available for the 3DS, which is actually really fun, and you can find all that information and more, of course, at our website, gameandmovieguide.com. Now let's talk a couple things about Pixar. Pixar, first of all, let's talk about Monster University. Did you see the new trailer for Monster University?
Yeah, I was.
What'd you think?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell from the trailer. It could be interesting, or it could be, you know, not at all.
So true.
Kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, it is.
Monsters, Inc. was such a great movie.
So brilliant. So brilliant.
I'm afraid that they're going to do something to ruin that.
Exactly.
Because how are they going to top the first Monsters, Inc. is what I'm worried about.
That's the way I feel. The trailer looked entertaining and amusing.
Right.
It's fun to hear Billy Crystal, as Mike Wazowski again. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's interesting that they're already putting out material for that film before Brave even opened. It came out earlier this weekend, and then Brave. Let's talk about Brave. Pixar's latest original fairy tale set in Scotland.
Right.
And had a chance to check it out, and I know people aren't going to want to hear this, but disappointing. Now, here's the problem. Pixar has set the bar so high for themselves and for everybody else, but for themselves.
Right.
I mean, they've set it so high. I think Toy Story 3 was kind of like the apex of all that they've done. It was such a good movie, and beyond that, it was a threequel. How many threequels can you think are as good, if not better, than the first movie?
No, there's none, really.
So what is
maybe Tremors.
Right.
That was a joke for everyone, And
I fell for it. Okay, well, that just shows how elite Pixar is. Toy Story 3 was amazing. Now, they followed that up with Cars 2, which was all right.
Yeah.
And then I had high hopes because, Pixar's originals, think, Monsters, Inc., think WALL-E, think Up, those quirky original ideas have been some of their most brilliant, beloved films. So having Brave be an original without a number at the end of it really raised our hopes high. The problem here is the story is average, the humor in it is average, and the characters are average. So for Pixar to be that average is really disappointing. We go into this a lot more in our review at GameAndMovieGuide.com. But it brings up some interesting questions about fate. Is our fate chosen for us, or do we have an opportunity to choose our fate? And you've all heard that on the posters and everything, choose your fate, which is an interesting idea. They don't really delve into it as much as I would have liked in the movie. But one of the things I was thinking of in connection to that, a lot of people say, I could never believe in a God who would send anyone to hell. You've heard that?
No, yeah.
And I always thought that was so strange because people are like, well, God, just condemns their fate to hell. Well, here's the thing. Our fate is hell. God changed that. He gave us the option.
Yeah.
He didn't send people to hell. He gave them another option instead of hell through his son, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be able to change our fate. But because of Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection, we can change our fate. If we want to, we can choose.
Exactly. He still allows us the personal choice.
Right. But we now have a choice when it comes to our fate, which I think is really cool. And so God doesn't send people to hell. People choose to go to hell because they choose their fate, because God finally gives us the option. So we talk more about that in the review as well, which you can check out at GameAndMovieGuide.com. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. Kind of a slow week.
Yeah.
Next week we'll talk about the Amazing Spider-Man video game.
Oh, so excited.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
And of course we're leading up to the Amazing Spider-Man movie, which will be like a week after that. So we got lots of good stuff coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got some high hopes for the upcoming weeks.
Oh man, me too. We'll tell you if our hopes are,
if our dreams are shattered,
or if they're shattered like Brave did to our Pixar dreams. Follow us at Facebook.
Yeah, check us out, facebook.com/Game and Movie Guide. Get connected with us on Google Plus and Twitter, all from GameAndMovieGuide.com.
And you can also find more on everything we covered from our friends over at HollywoodJesus.com.